Hey YouTube, we're back. We have actually upgraded our equipment a little bit so you can hear us better. We're just developing this channel, having fun, enjoying the summer down here in the good old South with our blistering heat and comfortable humidity. Tonight we're not outside, we're in the shop, and we're going to go over a couple of the basics. We actually did we unloaded the trunk last night that had the heads and had the intake, and we're going to start looking at a couple of these things. We're going to get Jayden to start taking some of this stuff apart, and we're going to take it from there. It is tonight's going to be a fundamental night, showing Jayden the different intakes. I don't know if we're going to start off with intakes or heads tonight, Jayden. What you want to do? Want to get a little dirty?
Heads.
You want to do a head?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this head. So right now you might get a little background music and a little fast forwarding while we set up to go to the next stream. So we'll be right back. All right, YouTube. So now we're going to show you this. We're going to work on this to show you exactly what's going on with this head. Here is this is the right cylinder bank head off of the vehicle. As you can see, overheating, lack of oil changes. As you see, it's very, very, very dark in here where the oil was overheated. And this vehicle only had 115,000 miles on it. So you can tell that this was due to lack of oil changes, overheating. But what I really want to show you, and the reason why I picked this head over the left bank, because I want you to get an up close look at cylinder number 4. As you can see, pull it back some, Jayden. Pull it back some. As you can see, the valve is actually sitting incest in the head. The reason why is because the seat that was under this valve is actually dropped and exploded, and that's what caused all this damage. As you can see, the other valves are sitting flush with the head, and this one is inset. So that tells me right there that that valve seat is the one that caused the damage, which ultimately stopped the car from running. As you can see, pretty dirty. With this being done the way it is, it would be, it's trash. Can it be fixed? Probably. Am I going to go through the hassle of fixing it? No, I'm not. That's why we have brand new heads. And shout out. We have to give a shout out to Engines Pro RS out of California. They're the ones who got us the new set of heads to put on this engine. So shout out to you. We'll put their link in the comments. Engine Pros RS. And thank you for your Thank you for the great work that you did on the new heads, and we'll show those later on. Uh, However, um, as you can see, detonation. This is what I'm trying to show Jayden. Now, one thing I've been showing him is the Hemi head, the hemispheric heads. What's unique and where the name comes from is the hemispheric shape of the cylinder head, within the cylinder head, and how the valves are at an angle instead of being flat.
So what does
Hemispheric is a shape like a hemisphere, like a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is basically like a portion of a ball. Okay, this the old Hemi the history, they said it was the original. It's supposed to give better compression. Also, it caused the fuel to burn better. You got the dual spark plug setup, which burns the fuel better in the cylinders. Um, and this is just one of the patent trademarks of the Hemi head. Um,
So the head is where the pistons are, or?
well, that's a good question, Jayden. The head actually holds the valves, spark plugs, and Jayden actually asked a very good question just now. And the short answer is no. Um, but Jayden was asking, what does the head do? The head basically holds all the components that interacts with the piston to cause the explosion, or which causes the explosion. Okay, and just to give a short history lesson, combustion engine has 4 cycles: intake, compression, exhaust, and intake, compression, exhaust, compression. I'm having a brain fart. Intake, compression, ignition, and exhaust.
So that's what each 4 of these stand for?
Nope, nope. Every one of these are a cylinder. Okay.
Okay.
So, in one cylinder, it has 4 strokes. That's why they call it 4-stroking. It has 4 strokes. So, in the first stroke is the intake. That's where this will be sitting on top of the engine, and the piston will go down. While the piston is going down,
it squirts in like the
is opening the intake valve that lets in the air, but it's also allowing the air and fuel mixture into the cylinder. So then you have your compression stroke. Your compression stroke, both of your valves are closed, and the piston goes up, compressing that air and that fuel mixture. When it gets to the top, both spark plugs fire. That's your power stroke. It fires and pushes that piston down fast. That's where your power comes from.
So, like I
and
said,
then hold on. And then once it does that and it comes back up, your exhaust valve opens and lets all that air and fuel mixture that's already been burnt back out, and it starts back over the intake.
Oh, so it's just like a cycle.
Yeah, it is. It is a continuous cycle. And this engine has 8 cylinders that's continuously doing that, and that's how an engine runs.
So, like the engines that we built on the Legos, for example. So, like for the pistons inside of that, every time, even though this isn't realistic, every time we like moved it, that's how the pistons were moving?
Yeah, the pistons move up and down like that.
Oh.
And you'll see that more when we get the block out of the car. We'll actually turn that a little bit and let you see how the pistons go up and down. Okay? So, what we're going to do, we're going to wrap this up real quick. But we're going to actually let Jayden get a little hands-on tonight. So, what we're going to do is, there are a couple of parts on this that we're going to need to remove. And it's not that we're removing it to reuse it, because we're using all new parts. But I just want Jayden to get a feel of using power tools to do work on cars. So Give us a second. We'll be right back. It'll be one of those fast forward moments, and we'll be back with some tubes. And we're back. Again, we're going to take a couple of parts off of this head to allow Jayden to get a feel of using the impact. And one of the parts we're going to start off with that we are going to reuse is the EGR valve. So, Jayden, what we're going to do, you're going to get your socket, which that is probably looking at a 10 millimeter.
So, I'll say right here.
No, that's a 10 millimeter right there. There you go. Alright. So, now, you always remember, check the side of your impact. When the arrow points back towards you, that's taking it off. When it's pointing forward, that's putting it on. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, unless you're in a left-hand thread situation. But that's a horse for a different day. Go ahead and take that off. Two hands, make sure it's seat. There you go. Alright. Now I'll take that out, set it to the side. Alright. Now, oh, bless you. I'm just going to get the bottom one right there.
Hold on, it's not on all the way.
Alright, grab that. Take it off all the way. Now, one thing I'm showing Jayden, there are thousands and thousands of nuts and bolts that assemble one vehicle. So, with this being his first project, went and got some bags, because we're going to start bagging everything to make sure that when it is time for things to go back together, guess what? We know where they're going at. So, we'll go ahead and put those bolts in there. Go ahead and put that gasket in there. And the reason why we're saving the old gasket is not because we're going to reuse it, but it'll allow you to have something to reference when you're putting the engine back together. So when you go through the new gasket set, you're like, okay, that's the gasket I'm supposed to replace that with. And we're going to reuse this EGR valve. Go ahead and put that in the bag.
What does the EGR do?
EGR valve it stands for exhaust gas recirculation valve. And that's another story for another day, but we'll talk about this in more in depth. So I'm gonna put this in here. So this is all parts that's going to be reused. And there we go. So now we just removed the EGR valve off the head. I'm gonna get Jayden to do one more thing. I'm gonna get him to remove this exhaust manifold. Again, we're not going to reuse the exhaust head. We're not going to reuse the exhaust manifold because we are going with headers. More power.
More power, baby.
Yeah, we're going with more power. So, well, it'll allow the engine to breathe better. So. Now I will tell you something. Hold on. We do have to reuse that oxygen sensor. So let's go ahead and remove the oxygen sensor while it's still attached to the head, because it'll be easier for us to maneuver instead of trying to do it once we take it out of there. So what I'll do, so what you're going to do is loosen this. So here you go. Go ahead.
It's like it's glued on it. Three, two, one.
Now, what have we learned here? We have learned that the young Padawan still doesn't listen because it's all about righty tighty, lefty loosey. So he was actually tightening it, when in actuality, he's going the wrong direction. So,
oh, never mind. I was thinking on the wrong side.
Sometimes you just have to let the young ones bump their heads before they, learn the lesson. He's still learning. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, and I'm gonna bag it. Yeah, Jayden.
I thought I was supposed to twist it to the right.
Come get on camera, Jayden. Yeah, come on. So now, while I bag this up, Jayden's gonna tell you what he's about to do.
So I'm gonna take off these 2 bolts right here, so then I can take
The exhaust manifold.
The exhaust manifold off. Am I tightening it or loosening it? Because
well, you tell me.
Lefty loosey or righty tighty.
So go ahead.
So tightening.
The beauty about it, he don't have to worry about tearing nothing up because all of this is not going to be reused. And as usual, it broke off anyway, and the shield bolt broke off anyway due to age.
Well, at least I got one off.
Take all of them off. Even on the bottom. No. Look on the bottom.
That's righty. Am I doing it wrong again? That's lefty loosey, righty tighty.
Yeah. So
when the arrow's pointing back, it's going left. When the arrow's pointing front, it's going right.
That's correct, Ada. So here, tighten and loosen, and so that's 4 bolts that we had to loosen, in which, as you all know, they snapped off because their age, and overheated. So when it overheats like that, we all know that they become fragile. So, Jayden, get the video, get the camera. So as you can see, Jayden, they can't see. As you can see, everything is heated. I'm gonna take this off real quick and show Jayden the proper way of doing this.
So when it's pulling up, it's loosening. When it's pulling down.
And Jayden, you know in this part you fast forward through it, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. That's why I'm asking questions right now. So I'm still fast forwarding?
Oh yeah.
So when it's pointing up, like when it's pointing on the cobalt side, that's what it's tightening.
See the arrow? The arrow's pointing away from what you're working on, right?
So
it's going to take it off. And the arrow's pointing towards what you're working on, it's going to tighten it up. Okay?
Because I thought when lefty loosey, I thought when lefty, you're supposed to turn it left, and righty, you're supposed to turn it right.
See, you're overthinking it.
Am I going to add background music over this?
Yeah.
I guess we can finally get one posted up on what, like on the same night.
And there we go. Now, there we go. As you can see, we did get it off. This right here, just showing Jayden. This right here is a. I'll set it back up on the table. This right here is a exhaust manifold gasket. Here's the exhaust manifold. Again, we got all this brand new to replace, so we don't have to use any of this older stuff anymore. Everything's gonna be brand new headers, brand new heads. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to do a little bit more tomorrow. Again, the goal is to try to get that engine out of there by the end of the week. Hopefully we can do it if this heat allows us to get out there and get it done. This is Jay, and this is Jayden. Good night.